Wanda also happens to be the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee.
I did not know that. Oh, the vice chair of the Democratic Town Committee was stuffing the ballot boxes in the Democratic primary. That's great. That's just great. I love that. Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday already? I am doing quite well. I definitely wanted to come on here and talk about this with y'all today, though, because whoa, all these different worlds are colliding all of a sudden, and it's pretty interesting. So I don't know if y'all heard about this or not. I'm going to pull the article up, though, so you're not taking my word for it, so that you can see what I'm reading from. And it is news over the last week or so. I've heard a lot of people talking about. Actually, I think even maybe Donald Trump talked about it in a recent interview.
The ballot stuffing, that's something that's been debunked.
It hasn't.
As you know,
it's on camera.
But I do want to keep moving forward.
Yeah, because of course, it's on camera.
I'm just taking an article from ABC 7. This was published about 6 days ago. And here's the title: Ballot Stuffing Concerns Forced Connecticut Judge to Overturn Democratic Mayor Election Results. And then you have this surveillance picture. Now, there's a video of this. Basically, the video depicts this woman right here walking up to this ballot box with a bunch of ballots in her hands and putting them in the box. So what is the news trying to tell us? Bridgeport, Connecticut, a Connecticut judge on Wednesday, so this must have been exactly a week ago today, on the day of recording this video, on Wednesday, overturned the results of a local election after concerns rose over possible ballot stuffing. That means election fraud. That means putting fake votes into a ballot box. Bridgeport's 2023 Democratic mayoral primary election, which saw incumbent mayor Joe Ganim defeat challenger John Gomes, will now be redone in the wake of security footage allegedly showing people stuffing ballot boxes with numerous absentee forms. The ruling by Superior Court Judge William Clark comes just 6 days before the city's general election. Here is a quote: "The volume of ballots so mishandled is such that it calls the result of the primary election into serious doubt and leaves the court unable to determine the legitimate results of the primary," the judge wrote in his ruling. The videos are shocking to the court and should be shocking to all the parties. Though his ruling could be appealed, it's unclear if city officials will do so. In the meantime, the city's election will continue as scheduled, with the guy who won as the Democratic nominee and Gomez as an independent. "This is a victory for the people of Bridgeport," said the guy who got cheated out of winning, the city's former chief administrative officer. "Our campaign always believed that the integrity of our democratic process must be upheld, and Superior Court Judge William Clark agreed. It is a felony to be in possession of someone else's ballot unless you are a designee for that person. Any individual who writes more than 5 absentee ballots is required to report to the town clerk which voters received the ballots. Anyone in violation of these laws can be fined up to $7,000 and receive up to 5 years in prison." So I want to show y'all the video. So let me get that pulled up. This is all going to end up coming back full circle to Long Island Audit. Sean Reyes, my friend who runs Long Island Audit, it's all going to come full circle because he actually had an interaction with this woman prior to all of this coming out, and she lied to him on camera and acted a whole damn fool. But just to give you the lead up, this is what this woman's been up to lately. So this is another, I think, local news clip. It kind of gives some of the same information as I just read in the article, but it's a little bit of a different format. And I think the video of the woman stuffing the boxes is in here.
Some other news for you right now at 5. Today was day 2 of the Bridgeport absentee ballot hearing. And the woman right here.
This video is from about 3 weeks ago, the one we're watching right now.
In this video, allegedly at the center of all this, was spotted with a drop box. She
Look.
was on the
You see her walking over there? Look, let me make it big.
witness stand. Channel 3 New Haven Bureau Chief Matt McFarland was inside court today, and he's joining us live right now with more. Matt.
Hi there, Mark. Well, that woman, Wanda Jeter Pataki, in that video, she was called to testify, wanting to speak about the ballots and that video. But not surprisingly, she didn't say much, instead pleading the fifth.
Did you ever deposit an absentee ballot, a completed absentee ballot that was not yours, in a city drop box?
On the witness stand and questioned for 35 minutes, Wanda Jeter Pataki, the City Hall employee and supporter.
Y'all remember her name is Wanda Jeter Pataki. That's her name. That's what they're calling her. That's her government name in this lawsuit.
Of Mayor Joe Ganim took the fifth. She and her attorney refusing to answer questions.
Again, Your Honor, on behalf of my client, I would assert the privilege.
With nearly all of them focusing on her handling of absentee ballots.
Is that you placing completed absentee ballots into the drop box at 999 Broad Street?
And how she allegedly stuffed a number of them into a drop box or gave them to other people to do the same in the days leading up to September's primary.
Did you just high-five the gentleman who placed absentee ballots into the drop box?
Again, on my behalf.
They like did a high five or like a handshake or something. This is fraud. These are fraud. These people are frauds, in my opinion. I mean, innocent till proven guilty. Obviously, it's kind of unclear who exactly it is walking up to that voter box. It might be Wanda Pataki. It might be somebody else. But this is the person who they're saying that is.
Asserting your privilege.
After a video surfaced online, Democratic challenger John Gomes filed a lawsuit asking for a new primary. Gomes won the in-person vote.
Okay, so this guy right here, he's like a city official, or he has worked as a city official. He's not the current mayor, and he was not the incumbent mayor, but he was running for mayor from a different position that he had held. Now, it's also important, I want to let y'all know, the incumbent mayor, Ganim, he was convicted of federal charges like about 20 years ago for racketeering, extortion, and conspiracy, bribery, mail fraud, and 2 counts of filing a false tax return. That's this guy, Ganim. Well, that guy, Ganim, is the incumbent mayor of Bridgeport. Bridgeport is Connecticut's largest city. The largest city has an incumbent mayor who 20 years ago was convicted, not charged, not accused only, convicted. 16 federal counts. Racketeering, extortion, conspiracy, bribery, mail fraud, and filing false tax returns. Okay, so that's the incumbent mayor. And this guy right here, that guy, he was running against this convicted criminal incumbent mayor. So this guy, he's running against him. There's 2 forms that the people could have voted: in person or absentee ballot. In person, this guy won. He won against the sitting mayor. Incumbent means he's already the mayor and he's running again. Kind of like Joe Biden is the incumbent president, even though he's completely incompetent to hold that position. Can't walk, can't talk, can't string a sentence together, but whatever. He's the incumbent president. So this guy right here, he's running against the incumbent. He won in the in-person votes. But once all the absentee ballots were counted, he lost. He didn't win. The other mayor, the criminal, he won. So then this guy, the one who's running against the criminal mayor, is like, wait, hold on. There's this video that just surfaced of Ganim, the criminal's friend who works with him, stuffing the ballot box full of votes, looking like it's not legal. And he challenged the results of the election based on this video. And I guess that's his wife right there. So this video is kind of like explaining that, showing y'all the video. And then we're going to get to Sean's interaction with the same lady, Wanda Pataki. Tacky indeed.
The absentees, which broke roughly 2-1 for Ganim, put the mayor on top by 251 votes.
So he won by only 251 votes. And of course, I would be remiss not to mention Danbury, where the incumbent mayor, Dean Esposito, only won his election by just a handful of votes as well. And I would like to actually know how much of it was the absentee votes, because you know who was responsible for those votes counting. Jan Geigler, Lion Jan, who lies under penalty of perjury.
Hi, I'm Mayor Dean Esposito, and welcome to another episode of This Week in the City, where I go over absentee ballots with my friend and town clerk, Jan Geigler. People have died to give us the ability to vote.
Well, currently, we're pretty busy with the number and the volume of absentee ballots that we're getting in, and then put it in the outer envelope and drop it off to us. If you don't do that process and there's no inner envelope, then the ballots get disqualified. We are requesting people use the mailbox outside of City Hall. It's a voter box to drop them off here by 8 o'clock on Election Day. Anything comes in after that, then they're not counted.
People have lost their lives to give us the ability to be able to...
I mean, Connecticut seems like it's actually correct to call them corrupticate.
It's the political world. It stains Bridgeport.
Also on the stand today, Anita Martinez, who's running for city council on the Ganim slate, and also allegedly seen on video putting ballots in a drop box multiple times.
I think it's sad that election officials and campaign volunteers in the city of Bridgeport are forced to take this Fifth Amendment.
It's pretty sad. It's pretty pathetic. It's pretty sad. And you know what? It really does get at the foundation of our democracy or whatever. I know y'all don't like when I call it a democracy, but like voting is a democratic process. So that's what I really mean by that. Like the democratic process of voting is absolutely undermined when you have frauds committing fraud. And also on top of that, they're criminals. If they're committing crimes, they're criminals. Again, everybody is innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. I'm not saying somebody's guilty of something they haven't been convicted of, but you know who is guilty of something? 16 counts. The current mayor. And two of the things he was convicted of, guilty under the law, were mail fraud and conspiracy. Also, one of those things was filing a false tax return. So it does seem like he is willing, according to his convictions, to use processes of the government in order to advantage himself personally, which does seem to be like what the same exact thing that's going on here. And he has his friends running around town conspiring to put fake votes in a box. Now, I've never spoken about anything about elections or voter this and that and the other because it is a very hot button issue. It's also an issue that gets people censored and silenced if they speak too much about. And I would like to retain as much of my voice as possible, even though I do have clowns and open air prison guards after me all the time trying to steal away my free speech. But that's neither here nor there. I don't really talk about it much. And to be honest, I haven't really ever been convinced that fraud has determined the outcome of an election. Now, do I think that there are instances from time to time, case to case, of voter fraud? Yes, of course I do. But I think it happens on both sides of the political aisle such that probably it comes out in the wash. I know a lot of y'all are not going to agree with me. And that's why I don't talk about my personal opinion on this matter, because I know people have their minds made up on it. All that being said, we can all probably agree this right here is not okay. If what's going on here is what it appears, the staff and the friends and acquaintances of this criminal incumbent mayor going around to different ballot boxes and stuffing them full of fake votes, I think we can all agree that's not cool, that's not fair, that's not right, that's not acceptable. It undermines the entire process of democratic voting, which, listen, we can get into a whole debate, we can get into a whole conversation about what my opinions are on the electoral college and all that, but it's neither here nor there. We are talking about an election in a smaller population of people, geographically contained, and it's very clear that there's people walking up, high-fiving each other after putting handfuls, stacks of papers into an absentee ballot box. Come to find out, the absentee ballots are how this criminal incumbent mayor did win. So I think we can all agree this is not acceptable. And at least to my opinion, it's not.
Privilege against self-incrimination.
But an attorney representing Bridgeport's town clerk claims the video isn't enough to overturn the election.
It says to me that
the election has been overturned. This clip we're watching right now is 3 weeks old, and they were still arguing over whether or not to overturn the results of the election. Well, come to find out, as of about a week ago, the judge did overturn the election. Voter fraud confirmed in Connecticut mayoral election. Judge tosses results and orders new vote. So he nullified the vote. So it was overturned. Okay.
this election may have had bad actors involved.
Oh, they may have had bad actors involved, but it's not worth overturning the vote, even though the vote was only 250 votes apart.
Not saying that that didn't occur, but it's not to a level that would disenfranchise all the thousands of voters who did it right.
Again, this court case will take a break.
It is very serious to overturn an election, because what you're doing, like he said, is you are disenfranchising people who took time off of work, who took time away from perhaps spending with their children, cooking food for their children, spending time with loved ones, working on a hobby, whatever. Maybe didn't plan a vacation. People plan their lives around going to vote in these elections, especially like the mayor of your town. It is a massive slap in the face of the democratic process, and perhaps even more importantly, of we the people who are paying the salaries, the people paying the tax money to keep the lights on in the town hall and all of that. You're spitting in their faces. You're slapping them in the face with this fraud. It's what it is. It's what it is. And I'm not a big prison fan, but I actually do think that the people involved in this conspiracy should serve prison time, because they took away the voices of we the people with their fraud. Not only did they do that, they took away the legitimacy of any and every election that's happened in this regime. How do we know that they weren't stuffing boxes the other times? I don't really love the surveillance state. Y'all know I hate a camera in my damn face in the corner of the post office or whatever. But at the same time, I'm pretty happy that there was cameras here because now we have the evidence. It's pretty sick. And it actually makes everybody, even if you don't think that this is a big problem, like if you're at the camp that I was in, where it's like, I don't really think there was enough vote to like make it a different outcome in the election. I don't know, but that's the thing. I don't know. I'm just telling y'all what I think. But let's say you are the type of person like I am, where you're like, nah, like probably the presidential election, probably who was going to win was going to be who was going to win. And y'all already know how I feel about Joe Biden. I don't think the man's competent. Okay. I'm not biased in the way where it's like, oh, I really want Joe Biden to be the president. I on purpose did not vote in this election. I did not vote on purpose. I abstained because I could not ethically, morally bring myself to even vote for Joe Biden. So I'm just putting that out there because I want y'all to know like where I'm coming from. This isn't like, I don't even like him. So no, I don't think that the election was so bad that it actually made a different outcome happen in the presidential race. And there's a lot of people who think like me. We don't know. We just think this. Okay. Even if you are one of those people who thinks like that, it actually makes it a little bit more like, what in the hell? This woman, this town official is stuffing ballot boxes for a legitimately convicted criminal incumbent mayor. It undermines the legitimacy of the entire system of voting. And I believe that if people are caught like this, they should serve prison time and they should be on a list. They should never be able to be in any fiduciary position ever again because they clearly cannot be trusted if they are proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. Don't send any hate to anybody mentioned in this video. Don't go and attack nobody. This is just opinion. It's just commentary. All right. Now let's get to Sean, because Sean Reyes had an interaction with this woman. He put a video up yesterday and it absolutely blew my mind. So let me show y'all. Okay. So here's Sean's channel and he did just post 20 hours ago, surveillance footage exposes official stuffing ballot box. And then it says Fox reporter stands up to law enforcement. So there's a video right here to the original audit. And this was actually it was recently. This was, Sean. So Sean went here in August 2023, and he interacted with some people here. Tyrant officers arrest good citizen for asking the mayor for help, and then Long Island audit pays them a visit. Okay, so this was an audit that Sean did in Bridgeport, Connecticut's largest city, and he went and audited in August. Well, all these allegedly fraudulent election activities happened for an election that occurred in September. So the very next month was this voter fraud situation, right? So it was very, very contemporaneous, if you know what I mean. August, Sean does the audit. We're going to talk about how the lady lied to his face. It was horrible, whatever. Why did he do this audit? Well, because another auditor or journalist had come to the same place and he got arrested for asking the mayor for help. So Sean was going and paying them a visit and giving it a larger platform. Well, September rolls around, there's this alleged voter fraud, and now we're in November where the election has actually been overturned, but the election had not even happened yet when Sean had this interaction. So now we're back on the video here that Sean did make and post only yesterday, 21 hours ago, and it says surveillance footage exposes official stuffing the ballot box. Fox reporter stands up to law enforcement. Okay, so I have downloaded this video. We'll watch the video, and I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing, but I will show you some of the parts that I found to be interesting. So I will leave the link to both videos in the description box. I will leave the link to this video we're watching here, and I will also leave the link to the original audit. If I forget to do that, the original audit is also linked in Sean's video. Okay. So just listen to this first part. I have watched this video already. I watched it yesterday with Prem, but I wanted to watch it with y'all today because it's just so preposterous. So this lady's about to say something preposterous. Listen up.
Do they know that you're here doing this?
Who is they?
The powers that be.
What did you mean by
the powers that be? The powers that be. Do they know? Do they know? Do the powers that be know? Do they know? Do they know? Bitch, they don't have to know. They about to know. They about to know. They know now. How many views does that video have? They know now. They know now, don't they? 507 half a million people know now, powers that be and all. Stupid.
Fortunately, you cannot touch me. What does that mean? Is it fortunate if you can put your hands on people?
The long escalator ride of shame.
Who are you, ma'am?
I work downstairs at the front desk.
And your name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl?
That's Wanda, giving a false name to First Amendment auditor Sean Paul.
One more time. Look how confidently she lies. Lies. Look how confidently this public servant lies to we the people. Watch her. When Sean says your name or you are Cheryl was on that witness stand as Wanda Pataki, bitch.
Who are you, ma'am?
I work downstairs at the front desk.
And your name?
Then why the are you up here? Oh, I got to react to this whole audit.
Cheryl.
Who are you, ma'am?
I work downstairs at the front desk.
And your name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl. Look how confident she was. It's interesting that Cheryl's clone, her identical twin, was on the stand as Wanda Pataki just a few weeks ago.
Cheryl?
That's Wanda, giving a false name to First Amendment auditor Sean Paul Reyes. If we were to walk up these stairs and to knock on the mayor's door and try and ask him some questions.
So there's a journalist here trying to ask the mayor some questions, and the police are saying, you can't do that. And the security's saying you can't do that. And what does he want to ask questions about? I'm assuming he wants to ask questions about the voter fraud, right? And remember, this mayor, he's a convicted criminal, 16 federal counts. So he doesn't want to answer questions about this voter fraud.
You intend to have us arrested?
Now it is very clear why the city did not want a journalist with a camera walking around the government center. They didn't want their corruption to be exposed. Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here. In today's video, we are going to be covering some serious allegations of government corruption and election fraud involving the woman in front of you, Wanda Geter, also known as Cheryl. We met Wanda during our audit of the government center in Bridgeport. If you'd like to watch my full interaction with Cheryl, Wanda, I will leave a link in the description right below the like button. Now, let's take a look at the accusations that are now facing Wanda.
Lady caught on camera allegedly stuffing white envelopes into
So this video that Sean posted is not an audit. He was just reminding that he did do an audit, but this is Sean covering this local news who was basically similarly doing like an audit. Like he was trying to get help at the public center. You'll see, but this isn't a reaction to the audit. I can react to the audit. We'll see. I don't know how long it is. If y'all want me to react to the original audit, it's from a few months ago, but this video is Sean showing us this local news clip where the town officials treated him like they treat the rest of we the people, which is like they don't pay taxes there, like they don't deserve to be there. And it's like, hello, that's the people's building. That is the people's resources.
This absentee ballot drop box works just feet away here at the front desk of the Margaret Morton Government Center. This is the post of Wanda Geter Pataki, except she's not here. Put on leave pending the investigation into absentee ballot fraud. Still collecting your taxpayer-funded paycheck. Where's Wanda? Fox 61 made a house call.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to point out that when Matt Caron of Fox News couldn't get the answers he was looking for at the government center, he went to a government official's home.
This is normal. It is normal. I've said a few times I wouldn't do it, but the reason I wouldn't do it is because of my stature, my propensities, my personal dispositions to and against certain things. Like I choose not to do it because I just don't know how it would go, but it's definitely allowed and it's definitely normal. So people acting like going 1 or 2 times to a government official's home to ask them questions about things that happened in the course of their government official duty is completely normal, especially where that journalist has attempted to find the government official at the regular places where they would be, like their office. Remember, they weren't allowing this journalist to go upstairs. There was that cop, there was that police and all that. So the journalist's like, okay, we'll have to get answers somewhere. So that is normal. It is typical. I've seen it a lot.
To ask the tough questions. But according to Nassau County District Attorney Ann Donnelly, when I went to a police commissioner's home, Police Commissioner Patrick Psycho Ryder, to ask him about his asset forfeiture slush fund and his previous heinous arrest record, that was egregious. But do you see the double?
Which isn't. They just don't want accountability and they don't want transparency, and they're all in the cult together. They're all friends in the corruption together. In particular, Ann Donnelly, who calls Patrick Psycho Ryder Patty, as I like to call Patty.
Standard when it comes to mainstream press, and it's acceptable when a mainstream reporter goes to a government official's home, and that's good reporting. But when I go to a government official's home to ask tough questions because they're hiding from these questions, that becomes off as antagonistic.
And that's because the traditional media is very often bought and paid for, so they can make those sweeping generalizations. I mean, it doesn't seem like this guy is, thank God.
The double standard is egregious, and this is just what the government officials are trying to do. They're trying to divide us. They're trying to paint me in a certain light, but this is normal practices by journalists, and I applaud Matt Caron's vigorous investigating.
Yes, we're looking for Wanda.
Wanda's not here.
All right, yeah, we just, Matt Caron with Fox 61 News, we had a couple questions to ask her about the video that appears to show her stuffing the ballot box.
Nah, you have nothing to say about that.
Fox 61 learned Wanda Geter-Pataki is an operations specialist. She made about $60,000 in 2020, a public supporter of Mayor Joe Ganim. She also manages Pataki bail bonds and is a justice of the peace.
She was ultimately referred by SEC over to the state's attorney's office.
And yes, she's the same woman named in a 2019 State Elections Enforcement Commission ballot fraud investigation, which has been referred to the chief state's attorney's office for possible criminal charges.
Without getting into names, there's a city.
So this one's the criminal, the convicted criminal. He spent 7 years in prison for fraud and bribery and conspiracy and whatever else we read off. So now he's back in his spot as mayor, and he's got Pataki's stuff in the ballot boxes for him.
Employee who works at the front desk, clearly, so no, supports connection, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been, that's right.
And speaking of not getting into names.
You have to come back downstairs, young man.
Hi, who are you, ma'am?
I work downstairs at the front desk.
And your name?
Cheryl.
Cheryl?
That's Wanda, giving a false name to First Amendment auditor Sean Paul Reyes during his recent visit to the city offices.
Excuse me, ma'am. You told me your name was Cheryl, but I seem to hear everybody calling you Wanda. Did you lie to me about your name, ma'am? Ma'am, did you lie to me about your name?
They always say, get out my face, when they were the ones who walked into the view of the camera. Y'all saw at the beginning, right? She came all the way from downstairs to go upstairs to tell Sean he can't be where he was. And then in the process, Sean asked her simply to identify herself so that he could even know who was even barking orders at him. She lied, said her name was Cheryl, and everyone's calling her Wanda. Now he's saying, wait, did you lie? And she's saying, get out of my face. Well, bitch, if you would have got the about his face at the very beginning, nobody would have been in your face. But yet here you are.
Ma'am?
No, I don't lie about nothing.
Everybody's calling you Wanda, but you...
That's my name.
That's my name.
My name is Wanda. Yes, it is.
Wanda also happens to be the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee.
This same person.
I did not know that. Oh, the vice chair of the Democratic Town Committee was stuffing the ballot boxes in the Democratic primary. That's great. That's just great. I love that. That's sarcasm. I don't love it.
Was a celebrated political operative of the Connecticut Democratic Party. In 2019, she actually received a...
I don't care what cult that you're in and want to vote for, whether it's Democrat or Republican. You got to find a problem with this. If you don't, something wrong with you.
A state party award at the El Grasso dinner. So this is somebody that the state Democratic Party knows.
State Democratic Party Chair Nancy DiNardo.
What do you know about her?
Well, actually, I really don't know that much about her. I'm not sure that I really know her. I know the family. I know she's the vice chair, and I know I have met her. But other than that, to say I know anything about her.
I've met her. I know her family. I'm in the same organization with her. You know her, girl. Debbie, all you had to do, what's her name? Nancy. The Matrix needs some new names. All you had to do, Nancy, is say, I don't condone that.
All this while Mayor Joe Ganim continues to question both the authenticity and custody of the surveillance video itself. And while a judge gets set to rule on Monday whether Bridgeport's primary results should be thrown out.
And they were.
And a new primary be held. Reporting in Bridgeport, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
As you can see, Matt Caron of Fox News did an excellent job in his reporting on this story, but he went even further.
He did, but he does work for the conglomerate that owns all the media called Tegna, which does always make me a little suspicious. They own everything. And so I'm a little concerned anytime I see Gannett or Tegna, because that is like the major conglomerate that owns all the local news. Pretty much all of it is Tegna and or Gannett. Tegna is the broadcast one. I mean, Gannett is the print one, but they own everything and it's the same company.
He challenged law enforcement in the government center over their unconstitutional and unlawful policies.
It's one of the first rules.
Oh, so this is where the guy goes and tries to actually talk to the mayor and see how it goes. This is a real journalist, a little zippy windbreaker and all of that, and got a microphone and everything. So let's see how he's treated when he goes in here.
Of journalism never become part of the story. But today we nearly had to in order to stand up for all of our rights to access a
I love becoming part of the story. That's fine with me.
Public building and a public official. As the Bridgeport Police Department.
Because it's like he said, it's like, I'm not special insofar as like I should be treated differently than you or this guy or Sean. Like just because I make videos on stuff, just because I'm coming and telling y'all what they do, if anybody goes in there, that's how they would be treated. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't I want to become a part of the story? I want to show y'all who can't go during the workday, can't spend as much time doing this because y'all have other shit to do. I want to show you exactly what would happen if you did go in there. And so this whole thing about never becoming part of the story, I think it's like, it's cute for like old school or whatever, but like, I think becoming part of the story is just fine. And in today's age, it happens all the time.
Department tried to restrict access to Mayor Joe Ganem's office as we were trying to ask him questions.
Watch this.
Joe's gotta go! Joe's gotta go!
There's a clear call for accountability in Bridgeport.
Y'all break the election, Tokyo!
A call that's getting louder.
Joe's gotta go!
A protest Friday outside the Margaret Morton Government Center.
Come speak to the people, Joe. Fix the city, not the election.
Drawing the attention of residents.
We need a new mayor. We need change in the city of Bridgeport.
Business owners.
Enough is enough. We got to get him out. He should resign today.
He should just resign, really.
Former city employees.
We were all hardworking city employees with ethics and morals.
And even primary candidates.
And that's why y'all are not in those spots anymore. Because if you have ethics and morals, you either have to stop having those or you lose your spot.
Candidates like Leslie Caraballo, who after seeing the surveillance video
Look at Cheryl Wanda right there.
of alleged ballot stuffing, decided to remove her name from the ballot as a candidate for Board of Ed.
I don't want to walk into a seat the wrong way. When is enough is enough? When are we going to put our minds together and say, all right, well, let's have FBI step in? Because right now, the way I'm feeling, everyone is rigged.
As the protest grew,
Joe gotta go!
Tell you one thing. And it happens over and over in every civilization. I promise you this. The tyrannical government gets just a little bit out of hand, just a little bit beyond the threshold of what the people are willing to tolerate. And then it never ends well for the tyrants. I'll put it that way.
security watched from the roofline, and Bridgeport police gathered inside.
Joe, come out! Show your face!
Of course the man's not going to come out.
This is it!
Blocking access to Mayor Joe Ganem's office on the second floor.
What law says we can't go knock on the mayor's door?
What law says we can't go knock on the mayor's door?
If you go right over to the security guard.
The police, we have the police, law enforcement pointing to the security guard, passing. He's the one with the bulletproof vest, guns, cameras, the oath to the United States Constitution. He took it. Now he's saying, go over there and ask the security guard why you can't. The law enforcement officer was asked which law he was enforcing, and he pointed to the security guard, which is the answer. That is the answer. Hey, law enforcement officer, what law are you enforcing by not allowing me to go and access a public part of the building in the course of my journalism? And the law he's enforcing is points to the security guard. That's the law. It's not a law. That's the point.
Right there, and ask him to make an appointment, see if you're authorized to go upstairs. Then we can see what we can do for you.
Police began referencing.
No, No, this guy's like, then they began referencing unconstitutional signs. He's going to call it right out. Listen.
Unconstitutional signs not backed by statute or law.
You could have a sign in here that says, I can't wear blue jeans on Tuesday. And if I wore blue jeans on Tuesday.
Or no women allowed. No white people allowed. No black people allowed. No people who don't speak English as a first language allowed. No Latino people, Latina, and whatever. No kids allowed. That's unconstitutional. We kind of sorted that all out already, remember? No disableds allowed. Like, can you imagine? Like, the things he's saying is a little bit far-fetched, right? Like, nobody with blue jeans, nobody with whatever. Like, we kind of already had this discussion, like, what, 60 years ago with the 2 different water fountains. Remember that? That was decided to be unconstitutional. Remember when it's like black people, white people had to go to 2 different schools? You know why we don't have that anymore? It's because it's unconstitutional. The people have to be allowed to access their officials and their public servants that they voted for, that have jobs that they are effectuating on behalf of the people. Period. You can't just decide with no equal protection, no due process, that journalists can't ask the mayor a question. And yet, we have the Gestapo, the open air prison Gestapo right at the bottom of this We the People's House.
Tuesday. Are you going to enforce that? Are you going to kick me out?
Go upstairs, sir.
In our quest to conduct journalistic due diligence, police made their intentions clear.
If you go upstairs and security wants you removed, then Bridgeport Police Department will then step in and we have to do what we have to do.
But removed under what law?
We have to do what we have to do. Mafia.
Statute will be trespassing.
We are only following orders, nothing more. I cannot say that I am sorry we applied those measures. I followed the concept that I believe to be the highest in my profession. To sacrifice one's own sense of justice to the authoritative legal order.
Keep in mind, the Margaret Morton Government Center is a public building funded by the taxpayers, along with the mayor's salary and all police officers who swear an oath to protect.
And it's probably he didn't even win. It's probably why they had to cheat. It's probably why he conspired with criminals, innocent until proven guilty, to cheat
and defend the Constitution.
You intend, if we were to walk up these stairs and to knock on the mayor's door and try and ask him some questions, you intend to have us arrested?
No.
For trespassing?
No.
So then what are you saying?
You have to take all this up.
The security guard who took no oath to the United States Constitution, who is not an elected official, who the people did not vote for, is having law enforcement authority delegated to him. That is such a gross perversion of what the law is supposed to be. But it's the mafia literally usurping the people's house, stealing money from the people, stealing property now, frankly, from the people, stealing transparency from the people, stealing their rights to know what their government is doing. And they're just letting it all hang on the head of this $16 an hour security guard that no one voted for. He doesn't own this building. He doesn't pay rent at this building. He doesn't pay a mortgage on the building. Why in the goddamn hell is he the one getting to decide whether or not the people can ask the mayor a question? Ask yourself that. The criminal mayor, the convicted criminal who has served 7 years of a 9-year conviction before getting elected as mayor again, perhaps illegitimately elected as mayor.
But the security guard that runs the building right now.
But they're not going to arrest me. Security doesn't arrest people. You arrest people.
They're not qualified to determine that.
It's infuriating.
They're the ones that make the call.
Ultimately, these interactions with police involved me. But as a member of the press, my rights are no different than any one of you. We all have the right to access the mayor's office. But rather than risk an unlawful arrest, we decided to show you, the people, these interactions so you can decide who needs to be held accountable.
Ladies and gentlemen, this story is extremely important because it highlights the fact that we, the people, need transparency and accountability within our government now more than ever. The surveillance footage we all just witnessed was completely shocking, and to me, clearly shows Wanda, stuffing the ballot box in favor of her boss, Mayor Joe Ganim. Mayor Joe Ganim, by the way, was convicted of corruption charges and sentenced to 9 years in federal prison, which absolutely blows my mind. The fact that the Bridgeport, Connecticut residents would re-elect a man convicted on felony corruption charges is insane. Make it make sense. Now, that being said, I wanted to highlight Fox News reporter Matt Caron. He did an excellent job in his reporting. He asked the tough questions. And not only that, he stood up for our rights. He went.
Yes, thank you, Matt Caron. Even though Matt does work for a corrupt conglomerate, like he's probably just like a guy with a job. Like he's like a local news reporter. And you know what? Good for him. I really appreciate that he actually did peak even the smallest amount. I mean, reporters and journalists today, for the most part, especially if they working for a Fox or ABC or NBC or whoever, they're not trying to do all this investigation. They are not trying to do all this diligence. And so I do appreciate that Matt did that. Thank you, Matt. That is a service to the people.
Went to the government center and challenged law enforcement on their unconstitutional signage and policies. We need more reporters like Matt Caron.
We do.
The whole point of having freedom of the press is to hold government accountable and to promote transparency. That is why we do what we do. And I want to thank Matt Caron for standing up for we the people, standing up for all of our rights. The update to the story is that a Connecticut state judge has ordered a redo on the primary election.
Okay, so that was pretty much the end of it. I've already been recording for 50 minutes. It's going to take forever to edit. Hopefully it comes out today, but that's all I really had for today. I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say on this one. That's all I really have for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.